Hey guys, and welcome back to another week of Weekly Coldplay. My name is Monica.
And my name is Daniel.
And we are a weekly podcast all about...
You guessed it.
The Oscars. Who are you voting for? I hope it's Amelia Perez.
Absolutely not. Okay, no, we gotta restart it again.
No.
You better be cutting that out.
No, leaving it all in.
I hate that movie so much.
That movie does suck.
I was awake the whole time.
No, you know what? No, that's inspirational. Do you know why? It's really inspirational because, honestly, it means that you can make any kind of movie about anything, honestly. And it could be nominated for Best Picture. So, follow your dreams.
You can make the worst movie in the world and get nominated for Best Picture. I don't know how Amelia Perez got nominated and Megalopolis didn't. Megalopolis was the better movie out of those two.
I don't know. I don't know what movie I'm rooting for tonight. We still need to finish watching Nickel Boys. But it was very good what I saw, even if I did get motion sick. That's okay.
Yeah, we watched about exactly half of it.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, it's very good.
I was so intrigued. There was a bit that, I was like, what's going on here? And it cut out right before they were about to explain what was going on.
Oh, yeah. I really enjoyed Conclave. I think it was a great movie. The substance was great. Of course, Wicked. Come on, we've been talking about it for forever.
I've only seen Wicked and Amelia Perez and half of Nickel Boys. So from that perspective, my vote goes to Nickel Boys.
Okay, fair enough. I hadn't seen Dune 2, Electric Boogaloo, but that's fine. It's okay. If it's not the David Lynch dude, honestly, first of all, rest in peace, legend. But yeah, if it's not the David Lynch dude, I don't care. Sorry to Denis Villeneuve. Sorry to that man, but whatever. So for the next few weeks, 10 weeks, it might be even more weeks actually, because I thought of more ideas.
And also if it might have to get pushed back if actual news ever happens.
Yeah, that's true. But I always wanted to do this with this podcast. Kind of the reason why I wanted to do this podcast was to go through all of Coldplay's albums and kind of dissect it a little bit, go through album by album, do a album retrospective, which is what this title will be called.
I will say a little disclaimer. I know that last week we said this week we would be talking about the Debs Wild interview. The reason we're not doing that is because we realized there's no way to access it after it aired live.
Yeah.
So if someone happens to have a recording and would be kind enough to send that to us, if you go to Warwick University or something, and you work on their radio station,
hook us up.
Yeah, but we missed it when it aired, and there's now no way to access it that we've been able to find.
Yeah.
So we can't talk about it. Instead, we'll still have some words from Debs Wild throughout this, because we'll be referencing her book, Life in Technicolor.
The unofficial.
Yeah.
Book about Coldplay that came out a few years ago. And then also doing this retrospective kind of gives us an easy pass to get through whenever I'm in Japan for it'll be in 2 weeks, but I think we'll be missing 3 weeks doing the podcast.
I believe so.
But yeah, anyway, this does give us a little bit of a pass whenever I will not be here in the States. Although I feel like I am, because it's going to be pre-recorded.
It just won't feel like it to me.
Yeah, well. Anyway, moving on. Parachutes. Their first album, it was released on July 10th, 2000. Daniel wasn't even born yet.
I've been to the year 2000.
Oh my god. The album was produced by Ken Nelson and the Coldplay.
Except one song was produced by Chris Allison.
Yes, yeah, that was High Speed, which was on the Blue Room EP before that.
Yeah, and Chris Allison was their first producer that they ended up not continuing with.
And the track listing, I'll say the track listing all first, and then we'll get into it. I mean, you all, if you're listening to this, I'm sure you already know the track listing, but for formality's sake.
Yeah, and we've got it in front of us 3 different times, because it's on the notes, in the book that we have open, and on Monica's shirt.
Yeah, I'm wearing my Parachutes shirt, y'all.
You have to fit the theme, and her shoes match the theme too.
Yeah, I mean, they're just yellow.
Yeah, and they were all yellow.
So track by track goes Don't Panic, Shiver, Spies, Sparks, Yellow, Trouble, Parachutes, High Speed, We Never Change, Everything's Not Lost, and Life is for a Living, which is the hidden track.
Such a good track.
Yeah. Well, do you want, since you recently read this, I haven't read this in a while, since you recently read this, you want to share?
Oh yeah, I guess some highlights. I didn't take notes while I read it, but just what I really liked, I liked some of the names that Parachutes was almost called. The two that are mentioned are The Harder You Throw It, the Higher It Bounces, which was Chris's suggestion, and then Guy was like, unless it's an egg, and Johnny said, or a spanner, which for American listeners, we Googled it. It's a wrench.
Yeah.
Which wrenches do still bounce if you throw them hard. So Johnny was wrong. And you could bounce an egg if you make it bouncy first.
Like a boiled egg or something?
No, with vinegar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've made bouncy eggs as a child.
All right.
You didn't?
No.
Oh, it's fun.
I don't like the concept of a bouncy egg. Seems unnatural.
And then the other one that Chris was going for, which was too cheesy, was Maximum Soul. Parachutes was a name they decided at the last minute. Also at the last minute was the album photo. They were like waffling between all these things. They had a whole photo shoot that made nothing usable. And then just like after a concert, someone was like, oh, just take a picture of this prop. And Chris, with his cheap Kodak camera, just took a picture of the 10-pound globe that they had on stage. And
then the rest is history, pretty much.
Yeah, and then it later sold for thousands of pounds.
Yeah. The singles from this album, I don't remember the order, but I could tell you which ones were singles. Don't Panic, which also had a music video. Shiver, also had a music video. Spies, which has 2 music videos. Yellow, obviously, and Trouble. Yeah, and those were all the singles for that album.
I think it was Shiver, Yellow, Spies, Trouble. I don't remember the book mentioning Don't Panic being a single, so I don't know where that goes. But I know out of those 4, it was Shiver, Yellow, Spies, Trouble.
Yeah. Well, I know that it had a music video, so.
I think it had a music video, but might not have been a single.
Well, I count them together.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. But just out of the other 4, I'm just telling you the order because I remembered it.
Yeah, because it's in this handy-dandy book. Thank you, Debs.
Another interesting thing about the Parachutes era, obviously Parachutes, that's what launched the band to success. It entered the charts at number 1, which was crazy. Like, they started as this small band. They were hoping for some modest success with the first album, and it ended up rocketing them to the top of the charts, overwhelming poor Phil, who had to take a break. And making this album was no easy process. Their original attempts resulted in them firing Will and Chris, famously getting blackout drunk on vodka cranberries, playing harmonica in the streets and passing out on Will's bathroom floor. And then again they tried and were failing, and that's where the Blue Room EP came from. And then finally they were able to get it together, and just when they did, that's how they made it work. Although in their first recording session, Chris got distracted for 30 minutes because his piano was the same one that Bohemian Rhapsody was recorded on. So he just spent 30 minutes trying to play Bohemian Rhapsody.
Real. So real of him.
Yeah, I mean, if I was playing the piano that Bohemian Rhapsody was recorded on, I would also just try to play Bohemian Rhapsody. Although, I guess that's the same piano that Chris originally was working on Parachutes on, so maybe I'd try to play some songs off Parachutes. Another thing from the book, when they started recording, they had a few good songs, obviously Shiver, their lead single, but it wasn't until one night the sky was super clear and they all went out to look at it, and I think it was their producer who said, look at the stars, and then Chris came back with these lyrics, and Johnny put some old guitar that he'd written when he was 16 on it, and then Phil was like, these lyrics are nonsense and there's no tune. But it worked. It's a worldwide classic hit. The song is fantastic. Everyone knows it, whether or not they know it.
Yeah, and I realized I misspoke earlier about the music videos. Spies there was no music video for Spies because it was two for Trouble. It was two music videos for Trouble. Now I remember. And one of them, I think, didn't you say the...
So originally, they were going to make a music video for Spies, but at the last second, they decided to make a music video for Bigger Stronger, the lead singer off Blue Room, instead, and they used the story from Spies. But that Bigger Stronger video wasn't released until 2008 when they published it on their website along with a commentary. And then Trouble had two music videos, because the first music video for it was deemed too grisly for U.S. audiences. Mm-hmm. So they made a lighter one, blending animation and live action, that later won an award for Best Art Direction.
Yeah.
And then Yellow, obviously, as the iconic video, because the rest of the band couldn't make it because of Will's mom's funeral. And all of the extras and things, they could never get out because the weather was too bad all day. And finally, after just sitting around the trailer waiting for like 8 hours, Chris just goes, "Come on, follow me," and brings the directors out and just walks along the beach. And they did a gradual gradient, manually just making it lighter and lighter as the song went on to make the iconic video.
And literally the rest is history with that song.
That songs from Parachutes became popular radio songs in America very quickly, but it took a little bit for them to get a record deal there because Parlophone's subsidiary didn't want it.
Yeah.
But eventually that subsidiary's partner group, Network, spelled Nettwerk, picked it up. And the leader was such a big fan of Coldplay and really behind it. They're the ones who sent Dave Holmes, who became their U.S. manager. Mm-hmm. And they co-managed it along with Network.
Yeah.
And so he and Phil's new assistant, Estelle, can't remember her last name, but her first name was Estelle. Mm-hmm. They became the two managers for the band when Phil had to take a break after his health plummeted. Doctors were saying they had never seen this in patients that weren't already in comas before.
Mm-hmm. I guess a few things about early Coldplay. Obviously, we said they released Blue Room EP. They also released Brothers and Sisters EP, which has Brothers and Sisters, Easy to Please, and Only Superstition on it, as well as numerous singles. As we mentioned before, but on the Yellow single, there was No More Keeping My Feet on the Ground and Help Is Round the Corner. Two great songs.
Oh, yeah. If we were including these in the ranking, they would be up there. I love both of them. I actually wasn't sold on No More Keeping My Feet on the Ground at first.
Yeah. No, I love that song.
But now it's one of my favorites. But I've always loved Help Is Round the Corner. I listen to that one regularly.
Yeah, and on Blue Room EP, of course, there was Bigger Stronger again, Don't Panic, a different version of Don't Panic than what we're used to on Parachutes, which I prefer.
Oh, I used to have a very funny misunderstanding of the lyrics of Help Is Round the Corner. Mm-hmm. So I thought they were calling you, the listener, Four Eyes. Mm-hmm. So I thought it would say, Help Is Round the Corner, Four Eyes.
Oh, instead of For Us?
Yeah.
And then after Don't Panic is See You Soon, great song, one of my favorite Coldplay songs. And then there was High Speed, and then Such a Rush, which is another one of my favorite Coldplay songs as well. And of course, Coldplay's first thing that they ever released was a cassette with Ode to Deodorant on it.
Yeah.
Which we talk about all the time. That song is genuinely really good. I feel like I keep yelling about it, but
if anyone owns that cassette and wants to sell it, I'll buy it from you.
Oh my god, no, it's gonna be $1 million gajillion.
Yeah, I'll buy it from you.
No, stop. He will not buy it from you. Don't buy it. I'll
use my Magic the Gathering money instead of buying Magic cards.
No. What I used to do back in the day was I had these cassettes that you could tape and record over your own things, the thing that you're supposed to do with cassettes. And I recorded Ode to Deodorant onto one of those cassettes so that I would have it on cassette. I don't know where it is now. But I did that. I will also tape on other Coldplay songs too that I feel like would fit in a nice order. I remember there's lots of early Coldplay stuff. I distinctly remember like songs from Rush of Blood to the Head, like In My Place. Anyway, a little monocle over there.
I feel like In My Place and Shiver go together.
I think
I don't
Shiver
know
was
how
on
to
there.
Explain it.
No, I mean other than what they're both the second track of the album.
And lead singles.
Mm-hmm. So there. And yeah, I think that's all we really have to say about what was said in Life in Technicolor.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to go through track by track of Parachutes. First song is Don't Panic.
Yeah, obviously, you can tell by the title, this is the first of several of Coldplay's references to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, which the band are a big fan of. I'm also a big fan of.
Me too.
I've read all of Douglas Adams' novels, except for the one that was published posthumously. I still need to read that. But I actually reread Hitchhiker's Guide recently.
I need to reread it.
You could call me a hoopy fruit, even.
You know what? Hell yeah.
Yeah. I don't have a towel on me at the moment, but
No.
yeah. I actually, while I love Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I will forever have more fondness in my heart for Dirk Gently, which I still haven't seen the show or read any of the comics for.
Oh.
But I also still need to finish the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy text-based game that Monica and I had been playing together. But we only got so far because it is well regarded as one of if not the hardest text-based adventure computer games of all time. Just because it's so random what the answers are to a lot of the puzzles. Don't Panic is one of the only songs off of this album that is not orangey yellow to me. This song is The Color of Bones.
Sinking Like Stones. Anyway, earlier in the car while we were driving here, we were discussing the color of Coldplay songs, and so that's what he is referencing.
Well, okay, I'm gonna share, in my opinion, what the color of these songs are, and this one I feel like is the color of bones, specifically like bone dice, that color that bone dice come
Ivory?
in. Not like a dice actually made of bones, but like the plastic dice that are advertised as bone dice.
No, I know. I meant the color.
Yeah, like an off-white. Yeah, like ivory.
Yeah. I like Don't Panic a lot. I think the guitar is really good. Of course, Johnny singing in the second verse is pretty great.
Yeah, a lot of the early Coldplay songs are very calming to me, and I have like a playlist of the most calming Coldplay songs, but I think Don't Panic is one of the ones that, like, when that one comes on, it calms me down more than most anything else.
Okay.
It stops me from panicking. I find it very soothing, and unlike you, I prefer the Parachutes version over the Blue Room version, although I do like them both. I love it a lot. I found it very hard to do rankings for this album because every song I was like, wait, but I also love this one.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. This is my favorite album, so, this was very hard for me to rank. I mean, I'm going to do the ranking live, so you'll see. Yeah, I'll also see it. It's a surprise.
I did it ahead of time so that you didn't have to sit here for 30 minutes.
Guy's bass part here is pretty simple. But I think Will's like it's like real soft, and I like it. I like it a lot. With Will's ghost notes that he plays. If you don't know what that is, and then drumming terms, look it up. Look up Stuart Copeland actually talking about it. That's all. He plays some.
Yeah, just for the listener's sake, the Stuart Copeland obsession has not yet ended.
Nope. It's been 1 week. I mean, it's been more than that, but,
Yeah, I just realized my dad shouldn't have been surprised at dinner when I talked about your hyperfixation, because we talked about it on the podcast last week.
No. Yeah, he was what we talked about, like the subject of the podcast. And after Don't Panic is Shiver, the second track on the album. Shiver, I think, is one of Will's best drumming on the tracks. Like, it's a lot of fun to play. While I have a little bit of trouble playing it, trying to get all those crash cymbals correct, but it's really fun to listen to. I think Will was just like really creative with what he did with the drumming, with what little he knew about drumming at the time, you know. Because as we didn't talk about it, but Coldplay wasn't Coldplay for 1 week.
This was one of my first like favorite songs from Coldplay when I was first starting to listen to them. Mm-hmm. This and Us Against the World and maybe Coloratura were the three that were like my top songs for the band. And when I very first listened to them, I remember hating Parachutes. And I remember why, but I don't hear it at all anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, the songs have fully changed in my ears. Mm-hmm. And I just don't get why my past self hated them. Like, I remember what the reasoning was, but I don't see it anymore.
What's the reasoning?
They all sounded the same to me, and I was bored with them.
Yeah.
I didn't find them interesting. And now they're all so interesting to me. Mm-hmm. No matter how many times I listen to them, they stay so interesting. Mm-hmm. But Shiver was one that I remember I would play on loop and would just sit in my bed rocking back and forth listening to. Mm-hmm. It was just, I really see why that was the lead single off of this album. Mm-hmm.
I also really like Johnny's part on this song too. Anyway, I could sing the entire song, but
and is this the song by Christine Mary Martin?
Yes.
If you use Cara Fun Karaoke, this song is by Christine Mary Martin.
Yeah, not Chris.
Yeah. Who's that?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and the lyrics are really good. I think it tells a really great story as well, versus a lot of the songs that Chris sings now. La 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 la. Yeah, peace and love.
I mean, not to say I dislike the lyrics on the songs now. I like the lyrics on the songs when there are actual lyrics.
Yeah.
But Shiver is so universally relatable. Mm-hmm. I think that was one of the reasons. It was both that the song and the music melodic part was so moving to me, but also the lyrics have always been so relatable to me and touch something in me that just I feel all the emotion in them every single time I listen to it.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, it's just such a good song. And then after Shiver is Spies. It's about spies. No, I remember whenever I first listened to this album, I didn't really even like the song that much, but then it has just grown on me.
I remember thinking Spies was about spiders.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
The first time I listened to it. This was like on the way to Cidercade or on the way back from Cidercade. Mm-hmm. I was subjecting my family to Parachutes. And I was like, yeah, it's about spiders. The whole album's about spiders. That was my conspiracy theory. Parachutes is every song's about spiders.
Coldplay, can you confirm or deny?
Spy, it's short for spider.
Uh-huh.
And they spy on you from their webs.
Uh-huh. I think as well, this one has a bit more interesting drumming pattern from Will. I'm sorry, I just kind of keep talking about drums. That's like, drums in general is like my hyperfixation. I probably won't talk a lot about Guy on this album, actually, because I feel like he's not very prominent. I mean, Guy, as what he's supposed to do, him and Will, they're supposed to keep the rhythm and beat, and they do on this album, but I feel like Guy's bass line on this album, on all the songs, is pretty basic, and that's like no shade, like it's what the band needed at the time, you know, they needed something simple. It's a simple album, so it's perfect to what Parachutes needed. So it's not a slight to Guy at all, because I know he's talented, obviously, literally one of my favorite bassists, one of my favorite people. Even if he does wear ridiculous hats.
I still don't think that hat's that bad.
I don't like that hat.
It's just like a newsboy hat.
Yeah, I don't like Newsboys hat.
Oh, I like them.
I don't like Newsies either, the musical. Again, another interesting guitar line from Johnny. And another interesting story from Chris. Again, I feel like he had a lot to say in his early days.
Yes.
Just singing wise.
Spies is the song about paranoia.
Mm-hmm.
And
Spies came out of the water.
I mean, I do have the paranoia all the time that there are people spying on me.
Mm-hmm. They're just spies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about the song?
No.
Okay. Okay, the one song, I know I just went on a whole rant about Guy Berryman, but actually, the one song that I think that he really shines through on this album is the next song that we're going to talk about, which is Sparks. The bass line on Sparks is, like, my favorite thing. This is such a sweet and I also think heartbreaking song to me, and I've always loved it since the first time I heard it. I've always loved this song.
Yeah, Sparks is one of my favorite songs off this album. It, I think, is the song where the lyrics resonate with me the deepest. It's beautiful to listen to. Again, just a very soothing melody. And I love watching them play it on C Stage during the Music of the Spheres tour. Yeah, I love this song. I know that the reason they play it so much now is because it's just gotten so widely popular recently.
Yeah, because of TikTok.
Yeah, but this song, I don't know, I'm just going to keep repeating over and over that I love it because I don't have intelligent, cogent things to say about it like you do, but...
No. What I was going to say is that, I thought them playing it pretty much every night on C Stage for the tour for the past, 2 years, 3 years, I thought I would get tired of it. And that is definitely not the case. I love this song. I love hearing Chris sing the song live because, I think his voice really shines during the song. And just how beautiful his voice actually is. And yeah, he's just so talented. And hearing him do different inflections night to night. I've got different recordings on my phone of him singing Sparks, and just different ways, and him just changing it every now and then. And it's just so good. It's so good every single time.
I can't imagine ever getting tired of this song getting played live by them. And honestly, if I was given the choice to cut C Stage Sparks and replace it with C Stage Us Against the World Silver Bird version, that would be a genuinely difficult decision. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And Monica knows how much I love Us Against the World and how much I want them to play it live.
I think the true answer is to cut Jumbotron.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is if I was given that choice, I would have a really hard time choosing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I would love Us Against the World into Sparks.
And then the next song here is, the song that pretty much launched them into popularity, which is Yellow.
Yep.
He was all yellow.
That song's about cannibalism, actually.
Oh my god.
Not really. That's an inside joke, but
yeah,
it is about the Yellow Pages.
Yeah. And it's also about, everything and nothing. Bananas.
The stars.
Johnny has said that.
Bananas.
Yeah.
Oh, don't show me a banana.
I mean, what else is there to say about the song that hasn't already been said by literally everyone on this planet? I feel like
it's so interesting to me that Chris, who was all my love songs are boy wants girl, girl wants to play lacrosse, comes up with Yellow, which is now very widely regarded as one of the best love songs. When he himself had very little experience with love at the time, because I mean, Yellow really was, someone said an interesting phrase, I'll just make up some nonsense lyrics to go with it. And as someone was quoted saying in this book, I forget who, but it was a famous musician, was saying that one of the reasons Yellow works so well is because listening to it, you can hear that song is about the love of the music, like the tune, the melody. And so all of the like earnestly kind of made up lyrics, you can just tell are there to fill in this desire to sing this song. And that is one of the reasons why it hits so hard for a lot of people.
Yeah. I know one of the things from Life in Technicolor was that Johnny had written the guitar part when he was 16.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me. Another little fact, I think we talked about this before. I know Chris has. On the podcast about Yellow, is that he was just in the bathroom. The rest of the band, they were watching football. And Chris was just in the bathroom because the acoustics were good, and he was just trying to do a Neil Young impression. Yeah, it was Neil Young. I was trying to remember if it was Neil Young or Neil Diamond. It was one of the famous Neils.
It was Neil Young. They mention it in the book.
Yeah. And, just look at the stars.
Which, every time Monica does that, it sounds like Kermit to me.
Well, Neil Young and Kermit are the same person, probably.
Oh, everything makes sense.
Yeah. Well, everything's not lost.
Wait, we're not there yet.
Yeah, and then, he needed a word to. They were all. He kept saying that, and then you looked at the yellow page. It was like they were all yellow, and then he came out of the bathroom and was like, "Hey guys, listen to this." Played it, and they were like, "Yep, sounds good, great."
And the first time he sang it to them, he did the Neil Young impression.
Yeah, which is incredible. One of my favorite things one of my favorite facts about this song, and yeah, I mean that's it was all yellow. Like,
I feel like every story behind big popular Coldplay songs is like the wild. It feels made up. Like if I was gonna write a fictional book about a band, these are the kinds of stories I would write, and then people would be like, "Oh man, yeah, this is an interesting book, but it's so unrealistic. This would never have actually happened. They would never have gotten that successful."
But look at where they are now.
The story of Coldplay is like a modern day fairy tale story.
Yeah.
Which I think is almost the most evident with the story behind this album, Parachutes.
And then after Yellow is Trouble,
which was originally called Spiderwebs.
Yes.
See, everything's about spiders. I think when I was listening to this album, I got to Trouble, and then I went, "Oh, Spies is about spiders."
Oh yeah, fair enough. When this was another song when I first listened to Parachutes, I didn't care for Trouble. I know everyone really, really enjoyed Trouble. I've seen it online, but I was like, I don't see the vision.
Yeah, but now
I see the vision.
Yeah, just last month we sang this song at karaoke.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, this song has really, really grown on me. The piano part is a lot of fun to play. I learned it like years ago. I think I forgot it by now.
I need to learn it.
But yeah, I used to know how to play it. Again, another interesting guitar part, interesting drum part. Will and his ghost notes, per usual, which he doesn't really do anymore. Actually, I don't. He was like the king of ghost notes in Parachutes, and then the rest of the album, I feel, or the rest of the albums that Coldplay put out, he hardly ever. Anyway, I did the hit song wrong, but that's fine. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I learned everything I need to know about ghost notes from Will, the champion. Anyway, enough of me going on about that. Another great song with good storytelling. I like when he sings when it's me in the middle. I love that line. Just like the melody is really good, and yeah.
But if you listen to the story, it does sound like he's describing a nightmare.
Well, yeah. Well, he's in trouble. That's the whole point.
No, but like looking down at a spider web and then seeing yourself
Yes.
in the middle.
Yeah.
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 That's like a card you would draw in a game of Betrayal at the House on the Hill.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything you want to add about Travel?
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any more specific things to say about Trouble. Again, like you, it was a song that at first I really disliked and now has grown on me so much.
Mm-hmm. And after that is the band's shortest song with lyrics, which is Parachute, also the name of the album. Well, you know, in a haze, in a stormy haze, I'll be round, I'll be loving you, always. It was funny, little fact here. When I went to the Houston show, there was an opener. I forgot her name, but there was an opener, and I think she was Houston based. And as one of the songs, she sang Parachutes, and we were like, Parachutes! Out of all the songs, the Parachutes!
Hell yeah.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. It was really good, you know, and I was singing along. It was awesome.
Parachute, because it is so short, is a song that I overlooked for so long and only just recently have started to actually listen to a little bit more and appreciate more.
Yeah. Again, Chris's guitar part. Again, you just really hear how talented Chris really is on a lot of instruments, but specifically the guitar. You know, because that and piano were like those are his two mains, right? And just being dee dee doo dee doo doo dee doo doo dee. I want to learn how to play it so badly. I want to learn how to play it.
I actually think I know where there's a tutorial for that one.
Oh yeah? Well, I'm gonna learn how to play it, and I'll play it for you. Probably not.
Do you have a guitar?
I have an electric guitar.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I knew you had the bass. I just didn't know if you had a
Oh
guitar.
yeah, no. I got the whole band.
Yeah, she's got guitar, bass, and drums.
I could literally play any Police song because I got all three instruments and a piano.
I do want to learn to play the bass eventually, but that bass that I gave her, it's just a fretless bass.
Yeah, which
is,
I'm obsessed with.
Yeah, but very scary for me. I need the training wheels of some frets, please, to learn how to play this instrument.
I thought I needed it too, but then it turns out, you know,
I have a very poor ear.
Oh.
A very poor ear. So.
I have a rich ear.
Oh. Lucky you. Wow, way to brag.
Yeah, hoity-toity. No one ever uses that word that phrase.
Hoity-toity?
Yeah. And then after Parachutes is High Speed. Again, I remember whenever I first bought Parachutes from Target years ago, I'd pop this into my family's Xterra, my mom's Xterra, and we'd be listening to it, forcing my family to listen to Coldplay. I just remember so vividly of just like driving around at night, seeing like the red lights and like listening to High Speed. Not like saying that we're gonna go speed the light, but like it just reminds me.
Red.
Yeah. But it just reminds me of driving around at the nighttime, and it just has like nighttime feels to it. It's yeah. It's just, this was another one of the songs I was like, you know, it's okay. Yeah, whenever I first heard Parachutes, I was like, this is an okay album. It took me a while and a lot of listens to say that this is my favorite album and the album that I wanted tattooed on my arm, you know. So now that it's officially on my arm, I better like every single song, you know. But yeah, I like High Speed a lot because, you know, there's a lot of that memories. Yeah.
I guess what I have to say is a bit of a spoiler alert for my ranking I'm about to share, but High Speed is my least favorite track off this album.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actively dislike it. It's all right.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
it comes
I feel
on,
the same way. Yeah.
I'll enjoy listening to it, but I don't recall a single time I've ever sought it out to listen to.
Sure.
And Yeah, I don't have that much to say about it.
Yeah. I will say I like Chris's falsettos on this song.
Yeah, I think I don't have like the memories you associate with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it just it's all right to listen to, but it doesn't mean that much to me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's all we really need to say about High Speed. And then it's We Never Change, which again I was like, okay, this track is okay, but now it's really grown on me, especially since the A Head Full of Dreams documentary, where they were like trying to come up with like band merch, and we're like, oh, what should the T-shirt name be? And then Will was like, We Never Change.
I remember very vividly. Well, I remember the feeling I had the moment that this song became one of my favorites. I'm trying to remember when this was. Anyway, I remember just a specific time, late at night, in a car, listening to this song, and the lyrics, I want to live in a wooden house.
Mm-hmm.
I started listening to the lyrics closer than I ever had before, and this song just hit me really hard, and I've loved it ever since.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think, it is like one of my dreams too, to just kind of live in a cabin in the woods.
Where making more friends would be easy.
Yeah, we're making friends with animals, and trees and plants and stuff. Just be chilling out in my cabin.
And me too, right?
Yeah, well, me and George.
Oh my gosh, George again.
George is the moth that I befriended.
Next time I see George, it's on site. I'm kidding. I'm quite fond of George myself.
Wow.
You've just hurt my feelings.
Well, now you hurt George's feelings.
I'm sorry, George. None of this is your fault. All of my anger is at Monica, not at you.
Wow. You get lower in the rating. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, this song is, I don't, like, I can't, like, describe the song as what it is, other than, like, just, like, a feeling. It's a feeling of, like, coziness. It's a feeling of seclusion. It's a feeling of, wanting, just wanting to just get away from it all, really.
See, to me, it's a feeling of coziness, but not necessarily of seclusion. It's seclusion from, like, society and its stressors. But when I listen to this song, I think about being surrounded by all of my closest friends. Mm-hmm. Like, the last thing I feel is, like, seclusion and aloneness, because this song makes me feel like I'm in a room with everyone who I love, all sitting there with me.
Yeah. See, every time I hear this song, I think about, like, Chris befriending, like, a little rabbit or a bunny or whatever, and he's singing to the bunny. I don't know why, but that's what I imagine in my brain. So that's what I'm thinking of. And yeah, that's We Never Change, and I will make a We Never Change shirt. I will. I have to.
And then she will wear it every day for the rest of her life.
Yeah. I'll definitely wear it at concerts for sure. So if you see me at a concert later in the year, and I'm wearing a We Never Change shirt, hit me up. I'll make you one too.
And know that she's never changed out of it.
Yeah, just know that smell is
Yeah, hey, maybe you need some deodorant. They sang a whole song about that.
Yeah, right? No. Absolutely not. No, it has to be organic. And then the last track, well, on the actual track listing, the last track is Everything's Not Lost. I honestly, this is not one of my favorite songs on the album because I think it goes on for too long.
Really?
Yeah.
I like this one a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I like the song, but and I like the message, but it's just a tad too long. Maybe we could cut out oh yeah, just cut out one phrase, and I think it'll be fine. Or like just fade it out, You know what I'm saying? I think this would have benefited from like the 80s fade out.
No, I would have hated that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the song exactly how it is.
Okay.
Yeah. And I do really like the message. I mean, you know me. I have a tendency to catastrophize. A little thing goes wrong, and I feel like everything is ruined forever. And so the message of the song is very nice to me. Of like, no matter what, everything's not lost.
Yeah.
And I feel like the tune makes me feel the same things that the words do. So it resonates very deeply in me.
That's fair. I like Guy's bass line on this. I wish that they would start playing this again, because when they played it at Climate Pledge in Seattle in like 2022, right? Yeah, in 2022. I liked it because of Chris was kind of telling the story of like when they were practicing, Will would do like this thing of with the drums, and so you go da da da, and then there was like a little breath. Duh, and then go back to playing it with like a little it had a little skip on a beat, and it just sounded so cool and jazzy. and
I was about
I really
to say jazzy if you didn't say the word jazzy.
I wish that they would start playing this live again, because I also think that it's a message that we really need right now as well. You know?
Yeah, it's just so easy to feel hopeless. And I know Coldplay's whole point of what they're doing right now is to try to remind people to feel hope and connection with each other.
Yeah.
And then I left it off the list because when I wrote that list, I was just looking at your shirt. But there is one more track.
Yeah. Which is Life is for Living, we all know. And I don't wanna live it alone.
Yeah. I love that song.
Yeah, me too.
It's not my favorite hidden track. But it is a very good track that I love a lot. And that is the one thing is that like I get disappointed hearing Everything's Not Lost like live when they
Live
don't play.
Yeah.
Life is for Living afterwards. I'm always like, oh, that was such a nice song, but now I want to hear this other song.
Fair enough.
And I'm bummed that there's no like isolated version of Life is for Living that I can just listen to like on streaming.
Yeah, I like it. It's a nice closing song. I think it really ties the album all together pretty nicely, neatly. And perfectly, like, and then like if you're like me and you like to listen to albums over and over and over again, doing the loop from Life is to Living straight into Don't Panic again, it's just like you start to see. I feel like the beginning of the album into the end of the album, it ties in as like a little bit of, not like disdain, but like, what's the word? But a little bit of hopelessness. I'm not with the love that I want to be in. I gotta remember to don't panic. All that stuff, and then it just goes into everything. Like once it leads into Everything's Not Lost and Life is for Living, it's just like it ends with hope. And just looping it again and just hearing that entire cycle. It's like, man, like this album really tells a story if you're really listening, and I think that's why I really like this album as well. And just like the album cover, it's circular, it's a globe, it goes around,
Yeah, it spins.
Yeah, so I just love this album so much. It's just such a stellar debut album from a band that just
stellar. Look at the stars.
Okay. It's just such a good like debut album from this unknown UK band at the time, that now is again the one of, if not the biggest act in the world.
Yeah,
definitely the biggest band in the world, period. Yeah,
Yeah. No, this is a fantastic album start to finish. You're very right to have this as your favorite album. It is one of the ones I most enjoy listening to because I just love the feeling of early Coldplay songs like this.
Yeah.
The feeling it gives me to listen to them. And I don't have any like disdain for the newer sound, but there is just something so comforting to me about coming back to this.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then now we're gonna do our ranking.
All right, so starting at the bottom at number 11. There's 11 songs on this album. Right?
Yes.
At number 11 is High Speed. We'd already established that. Number 10 is Spies. It's a song I like, but not like exceptionally so. The hard thing with this album for me is that there's so many songs I like. So a lot of stuff is down low, not because I have any issue with it. There's just so many songs vying for all those top spots. Number 9 is Parachutes, which I like, but I've only recently begun to like. Number 8 is We Never Change. Number 7 is Trouble. Number 6 is Don't Panic, which I feel bad having Don't Panic be so low because it's one of my favorites. But just all of them is one of my favorites. Number 5 is Everything's Not Lost. Also, looking at this now, after talking about them all, I think I would switch We Never Change and Trouble. Put We Never Change one step higher than Trouble. So We Never Change right before Don't Panic. Number 5 is Everything's Not Lost. Number 4 is Life is for Living. It is up there for me.
Wow.
Number 3 is Yellow. Number 2 is Shiver, and number 1 is Sparks.
Oh, wow.
How did that match your expectations of how I would rank things? Did anything surprise you?
Yeah, I figured you would put either Don't Panic or Shiver at number 1.
I was really struggling to decide whether Shiver or Sparks would be number 1. I was torn between them. And even now, I'm still, like, flip-flopping between them. I put Sparks there for right now because more recently, I have been leaning more towards Sparks than Shiver. But I have liked Shiver this much for a little bit longer than I've liked Sparks for this much. But just recently, my tastes have been shifted slightly towards Sparks.
Sure.
So I put it at number 1 for right now.
Okay, so my ranking is Everything's Not Lost at the bottom. Sorry to say. It's just too long. My bad. I'm sure the band will agree with me. It's like 5 minutes long, y'all. Come on. I don't got time for that. And then after that is probably High Speed. And then Trouble. And then Life is for Living. Parachutes. Spies. Don't Panic. Actually, no. We Never Change. Don't Panic. Shiver. Yellow, Sparks.
Our top 3 are the same, just with Shiver and Yellow switched. Which I like Yellow, but Yellow is only ever going to be number 3 for me.
I mean, yeah, I feel like I hear it all the time now. And, like, for the longest time, I said that was my favorite song until very recently, where I feel like it's fine to actually say that, Viva La Vida is my favorite song now.
It's very funny to me that your favorite song is not on your favorite album. I don't know. That is not something I would have expected at first, but it makes a lot of sense when I think about it. Just to have a different favorite song and favorite album.
Yeah. It's more about the story of how I got into Coldplay than it is about the actual song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Parachutes. Yeah. Tell us what you think. Tell us your ranking of the songs of Parachutes.
Yeah, we would love to hear other people's thoughts on this album. Your rankings, any stories you have about it. Is this the album that got you into Coldplay?
Is it not the album that got you into Coldplay?
Do you hate it?
Yeah.
Do you love it? Oh, I do have one other Parachute story.
What?
I don't own all of their albums physically yet, although I'm in the process of collecting them. But this was the 3rd one I got. You gave me Music of the Spheres. I got A Rush of Blood to the Head for Christmas. And then my best friend, Rune, and their mom were at like a Half Price Books or some store, and they found a copy of Parachutes on CD and just picked it up for me, and I was so excited to get it. They gave it to me when I was visiting here for spring break.
Yeah.
Or either that or right before I moved. So I had it with me in Colorado, and I would play it to feel better in Colorado. That one and A Rush of Blood to the Head.
Yeah. All right, and now it's other news.
First order of business. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Chris Martin.
Christopher Anthony John Martin.
Happy birthday to you. And many more.
That man is 48 now. Wow.
Wow, almost old enough for you.
Almost. We're getting close.
Yeah.
Give him 20 more years.
Yeah, we didn't forget, Chris. We know it's your birthday.
Yeah,
we love you.
Yeah.
There was an ILMC 37 panel with the team behind the Music of the Spheres tour, and you can go read it yourself. They talk a lot about the tour and the process of it, and what it's like working on it. But there's a few key highlights here. The first one, this is a quote. The important thing for the band is that every single ticket is sold and everyone can afford to come to the show. They want to have the tour that the most amount of people came to see. And when talking about that, they were saying that, like, to Chris and the band, it's not really important to them to be the highest grossing tour of all time, even though that is a distinguishment the Music of the Spheres tour has. But what they really want is for just lots of people and the whole world to see it, to truly be a world tour. The team hinted at the possibility of even more dates. When asked about if the tour was gonna keep going, they were saying we're not done yet, and crossing their fingers. So we might get more dates announced. They talked about the Bucharest shows and how the reason they decided to go was just Romania was somewhere they hadn't been yet, and they wanted to go. And the band is always talking about wanting to see other fans than they've seen before. And they'd been sending offers into play since 2010 and just not getting accepted. And when they finally did get confirmation to go this time, they were shocked. And then when they put it on sale, the show sold out within the first minute they put it on sale, which was the first time that had ever happened, which was very exciting. And then they talked with the gaffer a little bit about the sustainability efforts of the tour. And he talked about how it's been such a team effort. There's a lot of forethought and a lot of clever people involved, is what he said.
The winners for the Seagrass contest that we talked about a couple of episodes ago, were just announced. So go check it out on their Instagram.
There were some really cool pieces of art in there. A lot of them, I felt like the commended ones should have won, but maybe it's just because I am someone who is more moved by, like, art that is there to invoke emotion than the ones that were more focused on, like, presenting facts and figures. Although I did think some of those were really cool, like the big research projects with all the information presented were interesting, and I want to take more time to read about them.
Yeah. And that's the news.
That's the news. Not much this week. We mostly just talked about parachutes. Alright, it is a new month. And what that means is a new charity for us. We're going to do things a little bit differently this month. Instead of just focusing on one charity all month, we're going to highlight different charities related to HIV and AIDS across the country. I feel like it's an important time to boost that as the government is trying to defund a lot of the different parts of the government that provide HIV-related care. It's important to focus on the people who are still out there providing care. So first I'm going to talk about Allies in Hope, which is a HIV charity located here in Houston, Texas. Allies in Hope's mission is to create a community where HIV is stigma-free and rare, and people have equitable access to care. They will achieve their goal to end the HIV epidemic in Greater Houston through 4 strategic pillars. The first one is diagnose. They have outreach, education, and prevention programs throughout the community and within Texas prisons. And they diagnose all persons living with HIV as quickly as possible. They offer testing in their office, at community events, online, and at home. The second pillar is treat persons living with HIV rapidly and effectively. Allies in Hope focuses on all key drivers to impact health outcomes. So in addition to just treating the actual illness, they focus on things like housing and food security, income and insurance, mental health and wellness, equitable access and patient navigation, community partnerships, and overcoming stigma and fear, all of which are less talked about factors that still can play an important role in what health outcomes people are going to have. The third pillar is prevent, to prevent new HIV transmissions through proven methods. And they focus on the U equals U idea, which is that undetectable equals untransmittable. So the first and biggest way to prevent the spread of HIV is to treat the people living with HIV and get their virus suppressed to a point where it can no longer be transmitted through sex. Allies in Hope also makes PrEP, which is a very important medication for preventing HIV, accessible to all who need it by having multiple different ways that medicine is available. They distribute condoms with condom distribution programs. They also partner with the Houston Harm Reduction Alliance to advocate for effective syringe service programs to reduce the risk of HIV transfer among people who inject drugs. And their fourth pillar is respond. They respond quickly to potential HIV outbreaks with necessary prevention and treatment services for people who need them. They work with community leaders to identify which areas need additional service, and their goal is to ensure access to prevention and care services for all individuals vulnerable to HIV. So I have some figures for their impact. It looks like most of these numbers come from 2022. They have approximately 6,000 people served by all of their programs, 1,430 people tested for HIV and given PrEP education, 186 people served by their virtual youth camps, 343 people in their affordable housing facilities, 347 people served through the Stone Soup Food Pantry in 2022, and a 98% participation rate from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice System in their program called Wall Talk, which provides HIV, STI, and sexual violence education for currently incarcerated individuals. You can find them at aihhouston.org. You can read more about their programs and services and look at the different ways that you can donate to them.
Yeah. Cool. And that's pretty much it for this week. Again, this one's a long one. Which is a stark contrast from like the past few weeks. We kept saying leading up to this, we're like, oh, this is gonna be a short week. This is gonna be a short week. Turns out we yap a lot about albums. So next week we're gonna be talking about A Rush of Blood to the Head, the band's second album, and yeah, that's really it. My name is Monica.
My name is still Daniel.
And we are Weekly Coldplay. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to Weekly Coldplay. For more Coldplay content from us, check us out on Twitter at Weekly Coldplay and Instagram at weekly.coldplay. That is weekly, Coldplay. And if you like what you hear, give us a follow on wherever you're listening to this podcast on. Thank you again, and we'll be back next week with more Coldplay news.